Well, originally, yes, got a haircut today. My voice is almost back. And again, no water down here. Someday I'll try to remember to bring some water down here. I originally was going to build this set that we got the last time. Sandy, I think, got it for me. It's the new classic space sets. um, I built the tiniest one, the poly bag one, at the show 2 weeks ago. It's in the layout now because that's what I did with it. I want to build this one, but I was in such a particularly jaunty mood, as we say, of people of my era or my ilk, depends on which way you want to come down on that. I sorted all those pieces out. There's like lots of stuff down here that I have to clean up. Like, seriously. Digging into some corners that I haven't seen in years. And that came to a head when I did the car, the 853, the other day. And I found out that I had 2 more already built in the bin. The other one that's been sitting on my desk is this guy. This is another puzzle that I made. It's not perfect yet because the board is slightly too small. It does work, but you actually have to, quote unquote, force the pieces in there. So I have to do a little razzmatazz, a little razzle dazzle with, headlight bricks and stuff like that to make the border better, and then have a storage for all the 17 squares. It's been sitting on my desk for half a year now, and it's going to sit again because I had all these ideas I was going to do for this video, but the one idea, here's me changing my chair. The one idea is to actually talk about the bin. What is this? Oh, see, I just come across stuff. To go off on another quick tangent, I had, even back in RTL days, but definitely OBB days and Whack-A-Lug days, and also kind of come up in Torolug, I've been suggesting it forever, and we did it once, that we should have quote unquote open houses where we go to each other's houses for a barbecue on a Saturday or a Sunday, and we get to check out their Lego collection. Now, I've been to my friend over there in Eden Mills. That was nice. And I've been to Jeffy's place, not his new place, and he's still much chagrined about that. And I never got to Janie's place, which is really, really a huge oversight on my part. But we've had a few, more than one, a few barbecues here where we've invited Lego friends over for a barbecue. And they've come over and they checked out the room, and we talked Lego all night. And I had suggested that we make that kind of a thing that we could do with all of us. And we go to each other's houses and talk Lego, or just check out what the collection is and whatever, just like an open house kind of thing, a visit. And I used to really push for that, especially, hey, come on over and we'll have a barbecue and sit in the back deck and watch the sun go down. If you've seen pictures of my Facebook in my backyard, I kind of like it. So, but also I still have the cold. I still like the Lego room, although again, it's been neglected, shall we say, for a very, very long time, because I just do what I need to do and get out. And that's a little bit sad. So I am trying to now make an official policy of my life that I spend an hour or two, at least once a week, I spend an hour or two cleaning up and digging stuff out and doing what I'm going to make decisions about it. And some of the decisions are a little hardcore, like take it apart and roll it back into the collection. Like my big spaceship the other day, the one that I built last year, that I had drawn out on paper back when I was a teenager, and I finally got it built, and I'm going, yeah, I'm glad I built it, but it doesn't need to stay together because it's taken up half the rec room. So I rolled that back into the collection. And when I got that box of boxes a bunch of years back that I gave to Jeff, it was 2 or 3 cardboard boxes full of actual Lego boxes. Most of them were empty, including the Yellow Castle, by the way. Lots of town from the late 70s, early 80s. Lots of castle from the 70s and the early 80s. Late 70s and early 80s, and lots of classic space. The one thing that I got out of that box that I wanted to keep, and I was told that there might be pieces in there, was the entire Robot Command Center in box. I didn't keep the box. Again, that went with Jeffy to wherever he's traded in for. But I just, for the cost of what I paid for the lot, I got a Robot Command Center and some additional pieces that were in some other boxes, but there was no complete set. But the Robot Command Center was mostly complete. out of the box that was in the box. So that's why I bought it. I didn't buy it for the boxes because I keep on telling you guys I'm not an AFOLB, adult fan of Lego boxes. I'm a AFOL, adult fan of Lego. The boxes are relevant. And this is irrelevant. I think this came in that box. I can't remember. No, I don't think this came in. I think I gave Jeff everything that came in that box. This is what you used to get. Now, you can go look up in the 70s. Sets 2, 4, 6, 8, and they got bigger as the numbers got higher. But this is, I won't remember which one. 4, 6, 8 was bigger. 8 was much bigger. I think 8 came with 3 10 by 20 base plates. And I'll show you what happens is that, oh, that's a little bit. So you get the box, and it usually had a lid on it, and you open it up, and then this piece is sitting right here, and this was full of basic brick, and these are full of basic brick. And sometimes it came with trees and windows and shutters and maxi figs, the big figs, and they would all be in here. It was like it was a universal building kit basically, and they call it 2, 4, 6, 8, 44. Sometimes I can't remember the rest of it, but I remember the even numbers were better than the odd numbers. And the one thing, I mean, this is. I mentioned that I have a picture of my sister at Christmas time getting set 6, which I think was bigger than this. So this might be 4 or 2. And there would be a carpet box. But anyway, so this is basically, this is 10, but this is much smaller than 2, 4, 6, 8. And then you'd open up. And this one, the green bin's right in the middle. See, that won't fit in here. It's slightly bigger. These are the sets I got when I was a kid. Right? Let's see, is there a year on this thing? It doesn't say. I'd have to look it up. But this is 70s. This is pre-minifig day. You can see by the doors, the original 3x4 doors, 1x3x4 doors, and the original windows and the original shutters. This was my childhood. This is my youth right here. The small wheels came on a brick, not a plate. The 2x2 brick for the wheels. Now this is after the smooth tires though, so this is later. The smooth tires, I don't know when they started, but they were in my fire station from 1973. The smooth tires, and I remember again as a kid when they transitioned from smooth tires into these knobby tires, and I wasn't happy. And I was shaking my fist in the general direction of Denmark because I didn't like the knobby tires at the time. I didn't like the knobby tires until 1978. I won't mention what happened in 1978. But anyway, so this is, I have all these random assortment of 10 by 20, like I got a million of those. And the evolution of the back of these, by the way, because some of the older ones didn't come with the tubes at all. And the cross piece was just a line here and a line here. And then they put the tubes in there so you could build stuff on the bottom. And then they made it even stronger by putting these axes, because these things would break easy. I had lots of broken ones when I was a kid. Again, when you're a kid back in the 70s, you weren't thinking that you had to treat these things with kid gloves, as they say. Anyway, so I have that. And piled under my desk here is I have this thing that I think I got from Brick Fat, one of the Brick Fats. There was a minute when Josh was into the spinners. I keep on meaning to get rid of this thing. It's dusty. It's got a few cracks in it because, again, it just sits here in my basement. There's a crack there. I just didn't want to throw it away, so it sits here. Again, when I was a kid, there was a toy, not Lego. There was a toy called Battling Tops with Dizzy Dan and Dizzy Lizzy, or it wasn't Dizzy Dan, Dizzy Lizzy. 4 or 5 different types of battling tops, and it was a round arena like this, and you would have the little rope that would spin around the actual top, and you would pull it, zing, and then the thing would and then knock each other, bang, bang, and they go flying out. And it was one of my favorite games as a kid, and basically it was ubiquitous amongst everybody's house. Everybody had battling tops. Not hardly anybody had tiddlywinks, which again is even dating myself further back, but battling tops is almost everybody had that at their house at one point or another when I was growing up. And I loved it. I love battling tops, and we had a blast with battling tops. And I've tried to recreate battling tops with this thing and Lego, and it didn't turn out nearly as well, but I gave it a valiant effort. But if you remember battling tops, you're from my generation. The other thing that we had, and again, things that I tried to recreate in Lego, as some people know are known to do, Smash Up Derby. When they came out with the Chima pullback zing, and with the little steel tire, I got a whole bunch of them. I actually ordered some on Bricklink, but I actually bought some in the store because I wanted to see if I can convert that heavy wheel that will spin for a long time and take you across the floor. I was trying to see if I could build that into a car chassis and have like specific pieces that are ready to fall off. So you have the Smash Up Derbies. Because I had one of those when I was a kid, and it wasn't as ubiquitous amongst all my friends and family, but there was a few other people that had Smash Up Derby. I remember it being just a lot of fun. Not as much fun as battling tops, but we had a good time with that. It's amazing how a lot of people, including me, have, like, you see my Lego puzzles that I used to build out of wood, and I'm creating them out of Lego. It's a little easier for me now. So how you take other things that you remember as in your childhood, and you try to recreate it with Lego, because battling tops, when's the last time you seen that in a store? I don't know. I never kept track of it after my youth. It could have been for sale in the 80s and 90s and 2000s. I have no idea. I created an Etch-a-Sketch. And and I will say a few things that I've done in my life with this hobby that I actually sometimes genuinely miss. And it's because my computer died and I lost the entire SandySparkySpace.com, or whatever it was, .net, can't remember now. But I had a whole webpage dedicated to my life, and then my life with Sandy when she showed up. And on a subpage in my Lego page, I had a way for you, the viewing audience who comes to my webpage back in the day, to control an RCX remotely. There was buttons on the screen, and on that screen, those buttons were connected to run an RCX. And one of my forget the robots that were on the playfield, you can drive them around, because it had the Lego vision command, so you could see it. It was live feed. But one time I got one of those little magnetic whiteboards where you have the little stilo, whatever, that, and would make a line on there, and then you could erase it just by the magnet thingy. And what I did is I created an X and Y gantry that the RCX would control, and you can move the pencil around and draw via the internet right here in my house. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic, and a lot of people used it. It was a great time. But my favorite is the robots, and the robots moving around. You can move the robots around remotely. And I remember the first time I set that up and told people about it on Lugnet, and I had the web page tell me and what general location the person was controlling the robot from, and I had somebody from Romania controlling the robot remotely. And it was just like that Big Bang episode when they were turning on the lights going around the world. But tangents on tangents. Those were the good old days. I do miss that webpage sometimes, because it was a lot of fun. I'll say that. I don't think it would work in today's newer age of internet and stuff like that, but back in the zone, it was a lot of fun. But what I came to talk to you about is this bin here. The old dusty relegated bin of stuff that I didn't want to take apart, but I have no place to display. This is one such thing. It's a little bit beat up. It's missing parts and pieces, as you can see. I put this together. I think Josh and I built this thing years ago. You can see how dusty it is. Like, it's been together since I built it the first time. And it's not, and here's the thing, it's not one of my favorite at all. It's not even close to the top 20 favorite Technic sets of all time for me. I don't even know why I kept it together. Because, but, it's dusty. Mentioned this guy the other day. Here's falling apart. And, I have another one that's right over there that I just built. This was a gantry that I had on the layout for the longest time. It had the supports coming down to tires, and the tires would move back and forth. There was a little magnet on there that the RCX would move it back and forth. People like that movement kind of thing. So I kept this thing together thinking I'm going to reestablish that. Because I want to put buttons around the layout for the audience to press something, the public to press something, and something would happen. And this is one of the easiest things in the world because it's just a gantry and you have a little motor underneath pulling the magnets back and forth. Just never get around to finishing it. That one's pretty much show worthy. I like that, and tire for this guy. Then this guy, see this one, it's a little more robust than the 853. It stays together overall more than the other one. This is the one I mentioned that I got from Once Upon a Child a few years back. It's not my original. My original I could still build, but probably a few copies of it now. But I like that one, so I'm just going to pull that one there. And let's see what else we have in here. We have yet another, I mentioned this before, 2 of those. So I'll file that there. Watch it all fall down. Let's see what else. I'm going to lay it down. So it looks like I've been storing some classic space sets in here that haven't made it into the garage. There's this thing. That stuff falls on the floor. I built it. I got it for Sandy. I think Sandy gave it to me for Christmas, if I remember correctly. I built it. I have no place to display it, and I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but I like Star Wars, and I like this build. It's actually one of my things that I liked. But I don't have a place to display it, and I don't want to take it apart. So it went into this bin over here. Let's close that bin right there. Let's see what fell on the floor. Oh, stuff from the cart. Seats from the supercar. I'm doing this because what's going to happen is I'm going to take these supercars apart and I'm going to put them in the individual baggies, all the pieces. So they're there in this one supercar. And I do have a friend that I want to send one to. He just has to give me his address, but he's across the pond now because he said he loved that set as much as I did when we were kids, and he didn't get it either. So, and I have one of my puzzles that I built. I don't know why it's in this box, but it's one of my puzzles, my puzzle boxes. I used to have to bring a lot of power cords to shows. Well, that's bad. Broken bionicle is going to go into the bin of doom. I don't think I did that. It's probably a lot that I got, and somehow it just ended up in there. Oh yeah, so here's, I'll finish the entry and show you. It is what it is. The bin of doom. Let's see if I can pull up the gantry again. There it is. So what you do is you get a 32 by 32 base plate, landing pad base plate, and then you line the edges with 1 by 8 tiles, and you don't even have or train track, the blue train rails. You don't need to, but it helps. And then you have these supports, and you have the nice little tires down here, the smooth non-knobby tires, and there's a magnet right there, and there's a magnet right there, and underneath the base plate there's another robotic thing set up with a rack and pinion that goes back and forth. This thing just goes back and forth across the landing pad, and it looks like it's fixing it or something. I had that at a whole bunch of shows randomly. I just moved randomly. This is for that car. Here's one. Here's two. Here's three. Oh wait, here's 4. This is almost embarrassing. So that's 4, and of course the one I just made the other day, that's 5, and I know there's a bunch in the garage, so I have too many of these Galaxy Commanders. They were well sold back in the day, and I seem to be acquiring them all the time. This is my I don't know why I did this. Ziploc doesn't even close. I think there's 12 police cars in there. I built them all. I did that one video one day. This is Spirius base without the base plate. All the parts and pieces are in there. This is what I do. I put all the parts and pieces in the baggie. Just like these guys here. What else is in here? Oh, command center. One command center, again, without the base plate. Oh, here we go. There we go. Insectoids. I like insectoids. I can't keep on saying that. I actually I thought it was going through the evolution of classic space. And I talked about this before. You got classic space, and you go into Futuron, which I'll try to be cogent about this and not bitter. Futuron was a nice upgrade to classic space. I thought it was a little too sterile. Isn't the word I'd use for Futuron. I would use the word something like a skeleton of a concept. All the vehicles, all the ships, all the whatever seem to be like, I get like the command center, which is over there now, had 3 of the 4 walls because you couldn't have the 4th wall because then you can't get the guys inside and out. But the Futuron sets overall seem to be very hollow, very, very empty, very, very skeleton-like structures. And then you got into Blacktron 1 where the cockpits were sealed again. Overall, not really, but better sealed. I mean, they started not having sealed cockpits back in classic space, but that's a whole other story. And then Space Police, fantastic. But pretty much you could just swap the colors and it would look exactly like they had in Blacktron 1. And then M-Tron showed up, a little more intricate, a little more greebled, a little more modified plates instead of just regular plates and slopes. From Space Police 1. M-Tron kind of took a little bit more detailed oriented. But still, you swap the colors, it would look like Space Police. I mean, Jeff made the Megacore magnetizer from classic space colors, and it fit right in. And then Space Police 2, blah, blah, blah. I found Space Police 2 a lot more blockier, a lot more basic brickier than Space Police 1 even. But again, much of the same, just recolored and different minifigs. It wasn't until UFO showed up. When UFO showed up, it's like, wow, these guys went like completely different now. They went right off the wall. And then Insectoids came out and even changed that from UFO. Like UFO relates more in visual aesthetics to all the series before than it does to Insectoids. Like Insectoids was a completely standalone, very unique. I always have to say, and again, this is me saying it nicely, Insectoids and RoboForce had the same kind of, not but the same kind of, we're radically going to change people sitting in ships versus sitting on ships. And the minifig looks like RoboForce looked radically different than before. Of course, you had to make them look like dinosaurs, but whatever. But UFO and RoboForce went off in a completely different direction for aesthetics. Like you could even say Spyrish and Unitron. Like I Ice Planet colorized the Spyrius set, and it fit right in. Like it fit right in. It could have been an Ice Planet 2002 just by the color swap. The exact same pieces, except in different colors. You couldn't do that with Insectoids. You cannot take a Spyrius set and make an Insectoids color and have it look like it's part of the Insectoids line. You couldn't do it. Like it's a completely different building style. The vehicles, the ships look radically different, and the UFOs is kind of not in the same ballpark either. So UFO is slightly off, but Insectoids and RoboForce were completely off of the regular classic space lines. You could colorize all the other sets to be any other line, and it would honestly look like it fit right in. I am trying to come up in my head where that wouldn't be the case. Like as I said, the Megacore magnetizer has been colorized on basically almost every other color scheme. Blacktron 1, Space Police, like it besides not having a large red, trans red dome. And it would fit right into that line. Whereas if you took the Arachnoid base and tried to recolor it to any other thing, it looked like the Arachnoid base. like Insectoids. It would not look like it fit into classic space or Space Police 1 or whatever. And that's just my opinion. Because I always like the idea of when people recolorize things. The je ne sais quoi, the just like French conjugation, there's always exceptions, is the original classic space line. And people do this all the time. They'll take a Galaxy Explorer and they'll recolorize it for M-Tron, or they'll recolorize it for Ice Planet, or recolorize. Like the original classic space, the original 1978 classic space sets really are hard to translate into any other theme because they were just basic brick and basic wings, and that's about it. So they didn't have the degree bling, they didn't have the modified plates like the rest of the series did throughout the entire thing. The other data point I would say that Explorians and Futuron are basically interchangeable. They really are, except for the trans neon green. Like, besides the trans neon green insectoids, the capital ship in insectoids fits Explorians fits right into Futuron, like with the white and black. Like, you don't even have to recolor it; they fit right in. And again, they had the same kind of problem that I had with Futuron, is that the ships never, it was just a skeletal structure, especially the capital ship. And I love the capital ship. I think it's the biggest one they put out there out of all the series. It's bigger than the Space Police 1 capital ship. I can't remember the name of these things. But anyway, I have recolorized the Galaxy. I've recolorized the Starfleet Voyager to be classic space colors with the blue and gray and trans yellow, and that's fine. Backwards compatibility to bring ships into the original blue, gray, and trans yellow works okay overall. Like when I recolorized all the when I recolorized all the Blacktron 1 ships to be classic spaceships, they looked fine. They really did. I did not see a problem. The Renegade look, I thought, looked spectacular in classic space colors. You just have to make your demarcation between where the gray stops and the blue begins at the proper level in the Renegade, because the Renegade, of course, is all black with some yellow highlights. Whereas, you know, if you're trying to, and I don't have it here, it's in the bag. If you want to make it look like classic space, you have to make the bottom gray and the top blue. And I think I did a pretty good job of that. And I thought it looked okay, but you cannot do the same thing with insectoids. You can't do it. I have yet to see a fantastic recolorization of an insectoid set to fit any other line, or any other line ships to fit insectoids. I haven't seen one, even though it's blue, dark gray, and black, and trans neon green, which was the color of so many other themes. But I think it's the actual parts. But again, your mileage may vary. And then miscellaneous parts and pieces that are laying down here. Half the stuff, it looks probably came off the X-Wing, I guess. I wouldn't know. Came off the insectoid somehow, popped out of the bag. Left over from the car chassis that I'm going to put into a Ziploc. So what I'm going to do now is, now that that bin's empty and everything's on my desk here, I'm going to take apart, well, these things are already in bags. They should be in the garage. I'm going to take apart the supercars, the first supercars. I only need one together. And, oh, it's up there. It's not even down here. It's up there. I took it off the floor. And I'm not going to roll these back into the collection, but I'm going to put them in a big Ziploc and keep them sorted out and put them into a bin into the garage. And that's just freeing up space underneath my desk, so I can get at more stuff to do more cleaning. Again, none of this stuff has seen the light of day in such a long time, and as you can see, like, why? Like, four Galaxy Commanders. I feel embarrassed. I really do. I do want to make sure that I'm not breaking any parts or pieces right now, because again, the old sets, the 1x1 plate with the little round stud on the side, those things break off pretty easy, especially the old style. It is what it is. It is my collection, and this is why I keep on saying I really, really honestly have to sit down and start thinking about getting rid of this. These things have sat in a bin. 4 of them, 4 Galaxy Commanders have sat in this bin for ages, for no reason other than I have no place to display them, nor would I want to display 4 of them, plus the bunch I have in the garage already. There's no need for it. And the only, and I'll say this, and I think I said this before, the only reason why I am keeping them without selling them right now is because I do want to do one massively huge layout display at a show, where I just put all my base plates out on a bunch of tables, and I just put all these things back together for one big, huge show. I only need one copy of each, but I obviously have multiples. It is somewhat embarrassing when I look at it now. When I set up, I had no idea there was 4 in there. But this is what I'm going to be doing, and I do want to say on top of that, like here's, I mean, I love these things. I love insectoids. So it's, I do. Why are these out of the bag? Looks like it's closed. I do want to say that I do love this hobby, as people can tell. I really do. Oh, that's not off this one. So what is that? I love when I come across that. It's a Simpsons 2x2 tile. So I do adore this hobby, but I also don't want it to get away from me. And I think lately, for the last year and a half, when I get down here, I get a little bit anxious, a little bit discombobulated to see how much I have in here, and I don't want to be that guy. I never wanted to be that guy. And I do talk about it a lot, and I don't do anything about it. I have sold some stuff recently, but it's very slow on the selling, because I also don't want to just dump it with no care or consideration. I have too much appreciation for this hobby just to dump it and try to make a quick buck. And I think that's that's why you've been hearing me talk about it all this time. It's because I do not have it in me to just screw it all, this put it all in marketplace right now, or who top bidder gets it all, kind of thing. Because first of all, I want to keep what I want to keep, but secondly, more importantly, I want it to go to people who also enjoy the hobby, and not to people like you get this. If you have gone on Facebook Marketplace and you have gone on to look for Lego, you will see somebody who has like set number 10 or something like that for $150. And I'm going, $150. Like, I get the box. Some people want boxes. And I'm not faulting. I mentioned this before. Wanting the box is great. Some people want to collect the whole enchilada. And I'm happy for them that they want to do that. And I get it, because that's part of their hobby. But this box, number 10, the box is pretty much not a collector's item. It's just a number 10 box that came out in 1970, whatever, from Samsonite. That's all it is. It's not a Galaxy Commander. It's not a Galaxy Explorer. It's not whatever. It's just a standard universal building set box. And it's just like that tray that I showed you earlier that I don't even know what I'm gonna do with that tray. Because there's only basic pieces in here. Basic pieces. There's no modified plates at all in here. There's no modified brick at all. The only modified bricks in here are the shutters and the 2x2 bricks with tires. That's it. That's the extent of all the modifieds. Windows, but everything else is basic brick. So why would anybody pay for a 3-pound box of basic pieces? Because they want this box? I think that this is where I have a tough time with this hobby, that somebody's willing to pay $150 for this thing. I got this thing, again, I got this set when I was a kid, but not this box. My boxes were long gone, I mentioned that. I just happened to be in Valley Village one day, and I saw it for like $15 or whatever. I don't think the price thing's on here. But it was stupid cheap. And I said, hey, it'd be fun. I get to talk about it, right? And I still get to talk about it. So I keep this set just so I could talk about the 70s set. And the box is reasonably good condition, but I wouldn't care, right? And so it is like that, because I also have this box, which is not in at all any good condition at all. Set number 205. And the reason why it's called set number 205 is because it came with 205 pieces. And speaking of plates, the old green plate, and that's what they look like originally. And in here, I don't know what that piece is in here. That should not be here. Probably fell because I can't close it. Broken Technic pieces. Anyway, and this thing's been sitting on the floor so long. Things have been falling off my desk. Gear. I can go up there. So I say, but it's got 2x10s and it's got 2x4s. Basically white and black, white and red. There are very, very few blues in here. A couple clears. 2x4 clear. Now I got this set because you can see that one's slightly yellowed. Because I wanted to show what boxes were like, and the logo was like before we were kids. This is the logo pre-me. I think they changed it in '74. Don't quote me on that. So my earliest sets would have had that, but the 10 is this logo, which again is not even our logo now, because you can see the yellow between the L and the G goes all the way down. The new logo that I think in the 80s and 90s, I think when they changed it, doesn't go all the way down. It's just black there. And there's no yellow in the middle of the O in the new logo. Basically, I have these two sets to talk about. To talk about that stuff. There's another set that I have down here. Oh, here it is. That a friend of ours just gave me last 2 years ago. Set 125, because it has 125 pieces in it. They got this in their thrift store, and then they kept it aside for me. Again, so the original logo from the 60s. Ages 3 to 8, a quality product of Samsonite of Canada Limited. That's also why I keep it, because I got a tour of the Samsonite shop. So, this, I don't know if this thing has a date on it. Wow. I can barely read those numbers at the bottom. No, there's no date on it. But I kept this, and when you can take it slides out, and you can see, like, it's just white and red bricks overall, and a great base plate that time. So I do have a couple old sets in boxes, just so I could talk about them every once in a while when I want to talk about the comparison between the old and the new. But none of those sets for me are worth money in and of themselves, because I'd rather build with Lego bricks and all the Lego bricks I have, and I don't need to buy basic brick, which is all those two sets have, because I have 5 totes of basic brick sitting somewhere in the world. So there's absolutely no need for me to have those sets beyond a talking point. And that's why I can leave the pieces in there, because I don't need them out here. So they're not, wow, where's this coming from? They're not here for oh, I'm going to sell them 50 years from now, even for more money, because I don't care about them. I care about these things. This is what I care about. This is what I rather have. Hey guys, I got a Galaxy Commander in a bag. All the pieces are here. Quite confident that most of the pieces are here. You know, and now I'm getting to an age where I'm going to sell it. So what do you guys think? What do you want for it? What do you want to pay for it? Because again, I was singularly blessed, from my understanding of talking to a whole bunch of fans over a whole bunch of years now. I was singularly blessed to have the life that I've had, and be the age that I had, be the age that I am, in order to collect all this stuff without remortgaging the house. You go on Bricklink and you see how much monorail track goes for right now. Like, it's literally insane how much monorail track goes for right now. And you say, why would anybody pay that? My luck was I bought a ton of monorail track before it got to these stupid prices, right? And so it's like, but I had the opportunity to do that, and I had to want to do that. There were other people that are my age or around my age that I had discussions with 20, 30, 40 back in Lugnet, that wanted to do what I was doing, but they couldn't afford it. They young married couples with kids on the way and blah, blah, blah. You don't have the time. The little tangent about that one was nothing to do with Lego, but not to do with my family, is my dad, since he was 13 or 14 years old, drove a motorcycle back, and you could do it back in the day. He drove it right up until he got married. That's what he drove around. He had a work pickup truck, because he was a bricklayer, but he had his motorcycle to get around town. And when my brother was on the way, this is the story. When my brother was on the way, and this is what I've been told my entire life, that he sold this motorcycle for a baby buggy and a washing machine, because once you're an adult and on your way to becoming a parent, you have to put away your childish things, which I've been told more than once in my life, by the way. Put away your childish things, because you're an adult now and you have adult responsibilities and blah, blah, blah. It's a different generation, but we don't even go into that. But the idea was my dad sold his motorcycle for a baby buggy and a washing machine. Now, whether or not he actually sold it for a baby buggy and a washing machine, I think it's more of a parable versus what he actually traded his motorcycle for. But he sold it to be a parent and to be a grown-up. And so when I was in my 20s, a lot of people I knew were running off, getting married and having kids. I was footloose and fancy free. And since I was who I was, not too many women were taking an interest in me, which is a blessing. Trust me, it is. And so I had my income. I had a full-time job and I had my little apartment. And so I could buy as much Lego as I possibly wanted to. And back then, monorail was cheap. Now, in the grand scheme of things, even at that, it was expensive, more expensive than regular pieces. But you could acquire monorail for next to nothing. It came in used lots. Even at the beginning of eBay, I mentioned this, I would look at a lot on eBay. And no matter what it was, I would pay up to $2 for a curved piece, $5 for a straight piece, maybe $10, and then $15 for a switch and a small curve. And the little, yeah, so it was $10 for a straight, because the little tiny 1/4 piece of straight was $2.50. And I would add it all together, and that's the number I bid on it on eBay. And I won a ton of bids. Monorail's coming into the house at the early 2000s. Like you wouldn't believe. It was just coming in, like all the time. I would lose most of my bids. I would get outbid. But again, just like the Galaxy Explorer, where I bid well over 100 times, but won 12 of them. You can't go wrong with that. For 75 bucks, you can't go wrong. 75 bucks for a Galaxy Explorer. And I don't know if you can do it these days, but I did the same thing for monorail. I would add up all the track pieces. That's the number I put on it, and I would lose most of them, and that's fine. But I won a lot of them, and I've shown you on my other videos, I have 3 full bins of monorail track over there. That's still 3 full bins here, plus what I have in the garage that's in the layout. Now, again, it's not bragging, because I also know that there are people, my peers out there, that have far greater, massively huger, that's a real word, collections of monorail than I do. It's Dave Eaton, I'm looking at you. And I'm happy for them, because they were doing what I was doing, just collecting it because they wanted to collect it. And I collected enough. And there's a time when I said, I have all this monorail, I'm never going to use it all, let's just quit. And I actually, put my foot down and never bought monorail. Purposely focused on monorail again. Now, if it came in a used lot, and I've actually got monorail in used lots since then, a few pieces, and I found, as I mentioned in the other videos, I got a 6991 at Value Village for $19.99 with extra monorail track in there. I'm not going to pass that up, but I'm not going to go on eBay looking for monorail track, adding up how many pieces they are and give them the final number. I ain't going to do it. You people, you can try it. I did it for a year. And I got lots of monorail. I did the 75 bucks for Galaxy Explorers for a year, and I got 12 Galaxy Explorers. It's a game of patience. It's a game of, I lost that bid by $1. Who cares? You have to be willing to, just like gambling, you have to be willing, knowing that you are going to lose. Right? And so I did. And that's acceptable. And without, I lost that one. Don't care. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I might get the next one. I had lots of fun with that. So anyway, this was what was in the bin. 3 Technic cards, well, 4 Technic cards really. A bunch of classic space and a bunch of loose pieces. And of course the X-Wing fighter that I'm probably gonna put it in a Ziploc, take the wings off and put it in a Ziploc and just forget it. It was there. It's a nice set, but I don't need to put it on display. It's not my kind of stuff to put on display. I had it on display for a while, by the way. It was up there on the shelf for the longest time, because what else? But in the end, let's see, that's There you go there, or back there. So this is what happens when you put them in bins, so they always break. Yeah, cute little set. But in the end, sorry, I'm 10 years old again, by the way. Every time I see this, I'm like, Bakes. I was 10. It was such a great movie. Nothing can, I don't think anything's going to ever recapture that 10-year-old watching Star Wars for the first time. Some other movies have come along that have made me reminiscent of that, but being 10 years old watching Star Wars was fantastic. Anyway, that's it. That's all. I'm not going to waste any more of your time on this. I'm going to find some big Ziplocs and start dismantling stuff, and then go refill that tote. I'm going to take it to the garage, and that's where it's going to be. I also have that bag of sets that I reconstituted the other day on there, so that's already over there with another Galaxy Commander. And I took a whole bunch of ships off my shelf here and sets off my shelf and put them in Ziplocs because I'm in a cleanup mood, and I'm going to keep on going with this and see how far I get. There's a whole bunch of smaller bins down here that I'm going to get into, just so I have an idea of what I have and what I want to get rid of. Again, I'll keep on wasting your time talking about me getting rid of stuff without actually getting rid of stuff, which is probably going to happen for a while. So sorry about your pain. Oh, these games came off too. I think they were down here. I'm not going to look up the directions again. And that thing comes down. Yep. Let's see. Yeah, that's it. That's it. You guys all have the rest of your day. It's fantastic. Stay safe. And I will probably talk to you when I find something else interesting that I wanted to talk about other stuff, but this is what happened today. So I'll talk to you soon. Everybody out there, stay safe. Take care.